This is Meister Laine of the Copenhagen Voice. We are at Inuit and Indigenous Peoples of the Arctic Day. With me is Floyd Roland. And Floyd, you are the Premier of the Northwest Territories in Canada. Would it be true to say that the Inuits and the Indigenous peoples living around the Arctic Circle are on the edge of disaster?
Well, I would say that the impact of climate change is something that's being felt, and it's being felt first and foremost, as we've said for a long time, through the Arctic regions. It affects the animals we harvest, it affects the way we live. So I would say this is a critical time in the history of our peoples across the Arctic. And the world is waking up to the challenges of climate change. It doesn't only affect us now, it has its other effects within the rest of this globe. And we're going to have to work together to solve this, so we need to be a part of that work.
But you've been feeling the effects of climate change almost for decades, long before other people were aware of that. Is that correct?
Well, we've been feeling the effects of climate change for a number of decades. I would say our elders have passed it down to us about the changing weather, the changing patterns, the changing migration routes of animals have impacted us, and we're seeing more and more every year of the changes that are happening in the north. New species coming north, our species either traveling further south, and the numbers of our species.
So it's affecting your livelihood in several ways?
It's affecting our livelihood in ways of number one, the challenges that's presented through the climate change impacts, and as a people who've adapted throughout life and through our history, we're having to adapt to further changes, as well as adapt to not only our economic environment, but now just as we're stepping into that the economic environment, we're being impacted by the environment overall and the impacts that other people have had on that environment.
How difficult is it to negotiate with the Canadian government on matters of assisting you in mitigating climate change effects?
Well, it's always a challenge when we're large in territory. The three territories across northern Canada, the Yukon, Inuit, and ourselves, continue to work together with approaches up to the federal government about changes. For example, on adaptation around electrical energy, around wind energy, in dealing with the supply of our communities. We talked about Arctic sovereignty. Well, climate change is impacting that, as we talk about the Northwest Passage, for example. So there are things that we are working with the federal government on, and it's a challenge to get our message to the decision makers to see what we have as a potential as well. It's not just a challenge, but we believe we have some solutions to help in dealing with this, but it will take partners like the federal government and industry to help us get to the next stages.
What would you like from COP15?
What I would like from COP15 is people to put aside their differences and realize that it's going to take a global community to fix what's happened. It's not going to take one people, one region, one territory. It is going to take a global effort to make the necessary changes, and that's got to start from the grassroots.
But that also has to take account of the different development stages of various countries or regions.
I think that we're all capable of adapting, of making changes, and all you have to do is look at the Inuit people. We've adapted for time immemorial, as they would say, to the challenged environment we live in, to the animals we harvest, and now becoming part of an economic part of the puzzle, as well as part of the environmental pieces that we can bring to the table and share with others.
Floyd Roland, thank you much indeed.
You're welcome.